Hi, everyone. So happy to be here and be back at Tech Toronto. So today I'm going to tell a little bit about how I turned my marketplace business into a SaaS product. So just to give you a little bit of background on myself and my entrepreneurial journey, I have spent the last 7 years bootstrapping AquaMobile, which is a marketplace for at-home swimming lessons. So we currently have over 2,500 swim instructors across Canada, the United States, and most recently we just launched in Australia. And they travel to clients' home and condo pools to teach private swimming lessons. So I made the decision early on to bootstrap the company for a number of reasons. I wanted to grow at a pace that I was comfortable with, where I could maintain control, and also where I could maintain profitability from the get-go. One of the early decisions we made that has had a big impact on our company is building our tech platform internally to solve business problems. Back when we were starting 7 years ago, I didn't want this to become a core competency for us. But when I looked to try and find a platform for that we could use for our business, there just wasn't anything out there that was going to work. And so over time, as the business grew, I kept reinvesting the money back in the business to build a better and better tech product. And what would happen is, as the business grew, we would hit new problems in the marketplace growth cycle as our revenue would grow. And so we would solve for those business problems within our tech platform. As an example, we became really, really good at driving organic traffic to our website. And to this day, over 90% of our traffic is from organic sources. But what that meant is that we didn't always have suppliers in those areas to match the demand. And so what we did is we built a waitlist feature where, once we had new supply in that area, the customers that had put themselves on the waitlist, we'd built a bunch of automations to make sure that there was those connections happening later on, so we didn't waste those leads. Dealing with payroll for hundreds, thousands of people, that's another thing that we built into our platform. So something strange started happening, or maybe not so strange. In 2018, we started to have a lot of companies approach us, other businesses ranging from mobile beauty services, at-home music teachers, at-home yoga, personal trainers, you name it. And these companies were approaching us asking if they could white label our platform, or they could use it or license it somehow. They were struggling because they, just like Mark even highlighted in his talk, it's hard to find good tech talent. And so these people are struggling to build the product internally, or they couldn't find an existing SaaS product that would work for them. We even had heard stories of companies that were patching together 20 different SaaS products to try and get something to work for their business, for their marketplace. We had other people saying that they were stuck operating a successful marketplace, but just in one or two or a few cities because the tech platform they had didn't let them scale across multiple geographies. And so basically what we did at AquaMobile is we leveraged our core competencies of building technology and solving common marketplace problems to build out MarketBox, which is a SaaS product for service marketplaces and for businesses that have traveling mobile service providers. And yeah, this is how MarketBox was born. So very excited to announce this new spin-out of AquaMobile. The team is super excited. We're in our early days where we're onboarding our very first marketplaces to use our software. And yeah, excited for where the journey is going to take us. As I wrap up, just want to leave you with a few key takeaways. The first one is to make sure to take some time to reflect and identify what your core competencies are. And this isn't just about your marketplace. It can also be leveraged in your own personal growth. At AquaMobile, that's what we did. We looked at our core competencies as being technology and knowing how to solve marketplace problems that trip up a lot of marketplaces. And then once you know what your core competencies are, double down on them. And that's exactly what we did by launching MarketBox. And finally, don't be afraid to outsource things that are not your core competency. At AquaMobile, as we grew, we weren't really that great at customer service. We couldn't handle the influx of phone calls and emails, despite having the technology platform. And as soon as we outsourced it, we started being able to handle twice as many customer calls and emails and requests than we would have when we did it internally, and at the exact same cost. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening.
Questions?
One of the challenges I've seen with SaaS-based platforms, particularly as you get your early clients, is when is something a customization and when is something you offer to all your. How have you drawn that line, and how are you making those decisions?
That's a great question. So we feel that a lot of the platform that we have is actually can be used for the first customers coming on and for any customers coming on, and with only minor modifications. And once, what we're finding is it's the same tweaks that are required from each different business, but once we build it once, it can also be used in those other businesses as well, but it feels like a very customized solution for that marketplace. And that's what's missing in a lot of other products out there. So yeah, but I totally get it, and that's something that, I've got a great CTO who, we've planned that from the beginning, and just our previous marketplace experience to make sure that that does not happen and get out of control.
I wouldn't have thought of a marketplace for swim instructors, but as you pivot to be this SaaS solution to support marketplaces, I'm curious what some of the other surprising marketplace models that you've come across.
Yeah, I think one of the ones that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of, but I think it's going to be huge, is one that focuses on STEM. So engineering, robotics. So in their particular case, they started out with physical locations and got tons of requests from people wanting private lessons or sessions at home for their children, or even schools contacting them, wanting them to send instructors to the schools. And they didn't have the platform to take on these type of clients, even though, especially school streams, that can be quite lucrative for them. So that's one of the ones that I wouldn't have initially thought of that I think has huge potential.
Any question in the back?
Hi, so I'm wondering, you built technology as one of your core competencies. Was that the outset kind of vision, or was that something you learned about the company, and then how did you develop that?
Yeah, it was challenging in the early days because that's not what we set out to do. And this was 7 years ago, and marketplaces, the gig economy, on-demand economy was just getting started. Uber was just becoming a thing. So it's not like there were a lot of marketplaces or softwares out there that I could draw inspiration from when designing the initial product. So it was basically, invest what little money we had at the time to try and get something that we thought could work for our customers, our service providers, and our admin team, and build from there. And then once we got more users and we grew more, then we built more and more and more, and we're able to get more and more experienced talent. And so because we were bootstrapped, I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars from day one to go and bring on the top tech talent. So it's definitely something that became a core competency over time, and not something from day one of starting AquaMobile that that was the goal.
One last question.
Hi there. A question on what happens to AquaMobile, and relatedly, could you not actually launch tons of these niche marketplaces without it being the product?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things for me over the years that I've wanted to do is share my marketplace knowledge with other verticals outside of swimming. Swimming is great, but it is niche. And after a while, after 7 years, wanting to share that experience in marketplaces that have bigger opportunities. And when everyone started approaching that, I was always trying to think, what's the best way to do this? Because that new business, MarketBox, is a type of business that needs investor money. It's very different than AquaMobile. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't sink AquaMobile in the process of doing this. And so when the opportunity, and I had companies approaching me wanting to use our software, I was like, look, this is the perfect way to leverage our knowledge. And and be involved in other verticals without having to start a bunch of them from scratch again. Because it's hard work, and I would rather partner with passionate entrepreneurs and let them share their passion in a marketplace while we focus on the technology and then the 7 years of running a marketplace. Because that's what we're also finding. When people approach us wanting the technology, it's not just the technology they need, it's knowing other things, like what's the best way to price the product, or how do you successfully generate organic traffic in certain areas. So there's all those other things as well that can help them, and we've automated a lot of that stuff within our software.
Thank you. Thanks, Diana.
Thank you.